Hello students, this is Gangadhar from Dimensions. See, here in this mathematics session, we are going to handle the questions of data sufficiency. See, uh, data sufficiency. Data in the sense information. Sufficiency in the sense whether the given data is sufficient or not sufficient. ఇచ్చిన ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ అనేది క్వశ్చన్ ఆన్సర్ చేయడానికి సరిపోతుందో లేదో చెక్ చేయడమే డేటా సఫిషియన్సీ. Here we are going to check whether the given information to answer the given question is sufficient or not sufficient. That's what we need to think. And here, see, for each and every problem of data sufficiency, just 1 minute, okay? Yeah, for every problem of data sufficiency, question part will be there, and statement 1, statement 2 are given. For each and every question, there is one part which is question, and the other part is statement 1, and another part is statement 2. There are some special questions where we will have statement 3 also, right? In most of the cases we have these three parts, and here our intention is to answer this question. And to answer this question, we need to check statement 1 and statement 2, which statement is sufficient to answer the question. So we will have different options related to the examination, and one option is statement 1 only. Statement 1 only sufficient to answer the question, no need of statement 2. That's one option. And the other option is statement 2 only. See, it is enough to use only statement 2 to answer the question, and there is no requirement of the statement 1. And the third option is statements 1 and 2. Both the statements are required to answer the question, and 1 or 2, either the first statement or the second statement, any one of those two is enough or sufficient to answer the question. And the third option is neither of the statements. See, both the statements are not sufficient to answer. See, related to the statement 1 and statement 2, to answer the given question, we have these 5 options. So to answer these, to choose one of the option among these 5, we need to answer this question using this statement 1 and statement 2. And one more thing is here, no need to answer the question. It is enough if you say whether you are able to answer or not. That in the sense, ఇక్కడ మనం కంప్లీట్ గా చివరి వరకు సాల్వ్ చేసి ఆన్సర్ ఫైండ్ అవుట్ చేయాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు. ఆన్సర్ ఫైండ్ అవుట్ చేయగలమా చేయలేమా అనేది డిసైడ్ చేస్తే చాలు. కొన్ని క్వశ్చన్స్ స్టేట్మెంట్ 1 యూజ్ చేసి ఆన్సర్ చెప్పేయగలం, దెన్ చూజ్ ఆప్షన్ ఏ. కొన్ని క్వశ్చన్స్ స్టేట్మెంట్ 2 యూజ్ చేసి ఆన్సర్ చెప్పేయగలం, అప్పుడు మన ఆప్షన్ బి. ఫర్ సమ్ క్వశ్చన్స్ బోత్ ద స్టేట్మెంట్ 1 అండ్ స్టేట్మెంట్ 2 రెండు అవసరం, రెండు వాడితే కానీ ఇచ్చిన క్వశ్చన్ మనం ఆన్సర్ చేయలేము. దెన్ యువర్ ఆప్షన్ ఇస్ బోత్ ద స్టేట్మెంట్స్. అండ్ కొన్ని క్వశ్చన్లు 1 కానీ 2 కానీ ఏదో ఒకటి యూజ్ చేస్తే చాలు మనం ఆన్సర్ చేసేయగలుగుతాం, అప్పుడు మన ఆప్షన్ 1 ఆర్ 2. అండ్ కొన్ని క్వశ్చన్లు స్టేట్మెంట్ 1 అండ్ స్టేట్మెంట్ 2 రెండు యూజ్ చేసినా కూడా మనం ఆన్సర్ చేయలేము, దెన్ ఇన్ దట్ కేస్ అవర్ ఆప్షన్ ఈస్ నైదర్ ఆఫ్ ద స్టేట్మెంట్స్. Okay, so here for every problem we have 3 parts: question part, statement 1 part, statement 2 part. Our target is to answer question. To answer that question, we need to concentrate on statement 1 and statement 2. And after identifying to answer this question which of these two statements are sufficient, then you need to choose the option A, B, C, D, E according to the given data. Okay, see, the given data changes from exam to exam actually, but the pattern is the same. Okay, right? So now let us start first question. So here in the first question, just have a look. So here you will get the question, and I will read the question for you. Yeah, by how many years is Rasika younger than her brother Sunil? So we need to answer what? By how many years Rasika is younger than her brother Sunil? So that in the sense there are two persons, Rasika and her brother Sunil. How many years Rasika is younger than her brother Sunil? In the sense, see, the question part in this first problem is the difference between the ages of Rasika and Sunil. Okay, we need to find the difference between the ages of Rasika and Sunil. Rasika Sunil kante enta pedda ante difference of ages ekku kavalsindi, right? So to answer that, statement 1. What is statement 1 for this problem? Ratio between Rasika's present age and Sunil's age after 4 years is 5:7. So let the ages of Rasika and Sunil are R and S at present. As per the given statement, Rasika's present age divided by the Sunil's age after 4 years is S plus 4, and this ratio is given as 5 by 7. So this is statement 1. See, first of all you need to identify whether there is any possibility to say R minus S using this first statement. And coming to statement 2. And according to the statement 2, ratios between Rasika's age 4 years ago. Yeah, we considered the present age of Rasika as R, and 4 years ago her age is R minus 4, and Sunil's present age we let it as S, and this ratio is given as 2 by 3. So in the first statement we have one relation between R and S. In the second statement we have another relation between R and S, and we need to answer R minus S. So it is very obvious that both the statements are required. See, but in almost of all the cases, if there are two variables, two unknown values involved in the problem, we need at least two conditions. Here the two unknown values are Rasika's age and Sunil's age. So to find out the ages of Rasika and Sunil, or to find out the difference between their ages, we need to find R and S. To find that R and S, we need at least two restrictions, and these two are the two restrictions. So these two statements are required to answer the question. Okay. See, if you use these two from the first statement, you can make a linear equation. See, and that is 7R, and if you cross multiply, minus 5S is equals to 20 from this. And from the second statement, if you make 3R and 2S, minus 2S is equals to 12. Okay. From this you will have that linear equation. So two equations in two variables, easily you will get R and S, at the end you will find R minus S. So here, see, the benefit for us is no need to find out the values of R and S. It is enough whether you are able to find or not. Yeah, we are able to find R and S, and at the end we are able to find R minus S. And that's why no need to find. Both the statements are required to find. So your answer is both the statements are required. So you need to choose the option according to that where both the word both is involved. Okay, statement 1 and statement 2 both are involved. Okay, and that's first question. Right, I am erasing, clearing. Okay, then coming to the second question. Yeah, again just have a look related to the second question, and you will get the question there, and I will read here. Okay, what is the quantity of milk in 80 liters of the mixture of milk and water? Very clear. See in the question part what it is given. In the question part we need to find out the quantity of the milk, and as they given the sum of milk and water is 80 liters. See, this information is given in the question part. Then you need to pay your attention on the statement 1. What is given in statement 1? 8 liters of mixture is replaced by equal quantity of water in the ratio of milk and water. Okay, 8 liters of mixture is replaced. Coming to these type of allegations and mixtures, we don't concentrate on the amounts, we need to concentrate on the ratio. Here 8 liters of mixture is replaced. Since we are replacing 8 liters out of this 80 liters, so 8 out of 80 is 1 by 10. Okay, since you are replacing 8 liters, that in the sense you are replacing 1/10 of the mixture, or 1/10 of the solution. So after replacement of the 8 liters, then the milk quantity is m minus m by 10. Since 1/10 of the solution is removed, so the milk quantity is m minus m by 10, as well as the water quantity is w minus w by 10. But since we are removing 8 liters, so that we will add 8 liters of water, so plus 8. M minus m by 10, yeah, is replaced by equal quantity of water. The ratio of milk and water in the mixture becomes 27:13. Now this ratio, this is the new milk and this is the new water, and this ratio is given as 27/30. And that's statement 1. Now coming to statement 2. Now you just pay your attention. If 16 liters of mixture is replaced by equal quantity of milk, okay, 16 liters. See, 10 liters in the sense, 8 liters in the sense, 1 by 10th part. 16 liters in the sense, it is how much part? Most probably 1 by 5th part. 16 liters is 1 by 5th part of this 80 liters. So now here in this case we are removing 1 by 5th part. So after removing 16 liters for statement 2, the milk quantity is m minus m by 5, whereas the water quantity is w minus w by 5. Yeah. The mixture, 16 liters of mixture is replaced by equal quantity of milk. Since 16 liters, 1/5 of the solution is removed. So that 1/5 of the milk and 1/5 of the water we need to remove. And to equalize that, we need to add the 16 liters of milk now. And now this is the new milk and this is the new water. This ratio is given as per the problem. This is equals to 4 by 1. So we need some idea related to the elevations and mixtures, right? Yeah. So statement 1, the question part is milk plus W is 80. Statement 1 is this relation. Okay. Statement 2 is this relation. See, as I mentioned you in the first problem, to find two unknown values, we need at least two restrictions. So here, one restriction on m and w is 80, already given. And we need one more condition related to the m and w. Statement 1 has one relation related to m and w. Statement 2 has another relation related to m and w. Either you just use this m plus w is equal to 80 with statement 1, you will get the value of m. Or you may use this m plus w is equal to 80 with the second statement, then also you will get the value of m. So here in this case, no need to calculate that m and w. We need to calculate m and w. To calculate m and w, we need two equations. One equation is there in the question part. So we are searching for the second equation in terms of m and w. Statement 1 has one equation, statement 2 has another equation. We need only one. So use 1 with the question part or use 2 with the question part. Then at the end, your answer for this question is either statement 1 or statement 2 are sufficient to answer. And that's the second problem. Okay, just have a look, and I am moving for the third problem. Okay. Right. Yeah, just look there on the board. You will get the third question. See, Neeraj invested certain amount in schemes A and B. After 2 years, in the ratio of 3:5 respectively, the schemes A and B offer compound interest compounded annually and simple interest. Okay, scheme A and scheme B. As per the problem, Neeraj invested certain amount in schemes A and B for 2 years in the ratio 3:5. So the third problem, here we have two schemes, scheme A and scheme B, and the person Neeraj invested some amounts in the ratio 3:5. So let them as 3k and 5k. And for 2 years, the Neeraj is invested. And in scheme A, he invested at compound interest, and scheme B, he invested at simple interest. Okay. What is the amount invested in scheme A? Yeah, this is all, everything is given in the question part. This is all the question part. This is given, and they ask us to find k value actually. Amount invested in scheme A, there is a sense 3k we need to find, nothing but k enough we need to find. Okay. Now just look at statement 1. Statement 1 is given that rate of interest offered by scheme A is 20% per annum. Here the rate of interest is given as 20% per annum, and the rate of interest offered by scheme B is 25% less than that offered by scheme A. Just have a look. Okay, you need to pay your attention here. See, here the rate of interest is 20%, and in scheme B, the rate of interest is 25% less than, 25% in the sense 1/4. So 1/4 less than this rate of interest. This rate of interest is 20, its 1/4 is 5, so that much is lesser. So here the rate of interest is 15% as per the given statement 1. So this two rate of interest is given in statement 1. And in statement 2, what is given? In statement 2, the amount of interest accrued from scheme B is more than the amount of interest accrued from scheme A by 900 rupees. Okay. So here you will get some interest, right? Compound interest. And here it is given that compound interest is equals to amount of interest accrued from scheme B is more, is equals to that simple interest minus 900 rupees. Yeah. Okay. This is given in statement 2. Just have a look about the information. Principal amounts we have 3k and 5k. Time we have like 2 years, yeah, and then compound interest and simple interest k we need to find. So very simple logic actually. To find the values of k, we need, there is one variable, right? So we need at least one relation, and that one relation is only there at the second statement. But to use this statement, this relation, we need to write the formulas for compound interest and simple interest. To write the formulas for compound interest and simple interest, we need principal time, rate of interest. Principal time is there in the question part, rate of interest is there in this statement one part. So just no need to calculate anything here, just you need to observe. To find one unknown value k, we need one equation. To find two unknown values, we need two equations. First question, second question are related to the two unknown values. We are searching for two statements. Here this question is related to the one unknown value. Just we need to search for the one statement, one equation, and that one equation available at this statement 2. But to implement, to apply this equation, we need principal, time, and rate of interest. So this statement 1 is also required. So at the end, to answer this question, to find the value of k, we need both the statements. Statement 1 and statement 2 both are required. So your answer for this problem is both 1 and 2 are required to find the value of k. Okay, that's the third problem. Then you just think about fourth one. Have a look at that. The fourth problem. See, it is given that two friends x and y start running towards each other at the same time from points A and B respectively and meet after 135 minutes. At what speed is x running? Okay, so fourth problem, and we are thinking about the question part. Two friends x and y start running towards each other. See, we don't know the speeds of x and y, and they ask us to find the speed of x. You just let the speeds of x and y as x, y, and at the end you need to find the value of x. Okay, yeah. See, they are running towards each other at the same time from points A and B respectively. So x started at A and y started at B, and we don't know the distance between A, B. You just let the distance AB is equals to some D. Okay. These two persons are covering a distance of D by running towards each other at the speeds of x and y in 135 minutes. So how can we write? See, since they are running towards each other, their relative speed is x plus y. So from the question part, we have that this distance divided by x plus y is equals to time, and the time here it is equals to 135 minutes, some value. Okay, as per the requirement, you may convert it into the meters or seconds, or you may convert it into hours as per your requirement, but it is given that 135 minutes. So this relation we have. Okay, this is question part. Now you just think about statement 1. Point B is 45 kilometers away from point A. Okay, that in a sense distance is given as 45, and speed of x is 150% of the speed of y. 150%, 150 by 100, 3 by 2. So x is equals to 3 by 2, y is also given. So statement 1 contains two values. D is equals to 45 and x is equals to 3 by 2y. Okay. Then what to say about statement 2? And here statement 2 is distance covered by y was 8 kilometers. Y is equals to 8 kilometers is given. Okay. Now just think about the question. Okay. See, all these questions from the data sufficiency are again related to the different concepts which you learned from the arithmetics. All those concepts here we need to apply. There may be time and distance, time and work and everything. And this problem is related to the time and distance. So from the question part, we have d by x plus y is equals to 135 minutes, and here we have d and x, the relation between x and y. Here just I have only y. Okay. Here if you once think, there are three unknown values. D, distance I don't know. X, speed of the first person I don't know. Speed of the second person y also I don't know. Since I don't know three values d, x and y, I need three relations. So one relation is there in the question itself, and I need two more relations. Those two more relations are available in statement 1 itself. No need of statement 2. If you use statement 2, okay, if you use statement 2, then you have only two relations. You don't have third one. So at the end, to find out three unknowns, or at least x you need, then in a sense you are going to solve the problem. You are going to find three unknowns. To find three unknowns, we need three relations. One relation is there in the question, second and third there the statement 1. So for this problem your answer is statement 1 only is enough to answer the question, and that's fourth problem. Okay, now you just think about, yeah, just a minute, fifth problem. Okay, have a look at this, and this problem is about the, yeah, so basic mensuration. What is the cost of painting two adjacent walls of a hall having no door or window at the rate of 450 rupees per meter square? See, fifth point, fifth problem. Okay, just look the question. What is the question part? We need to find out the cost. At the end we need to find out the cost of painting. See, we know that cost of painting is usually is equals to, what is the cost of painting? Area of the painting into cost per meter square, and this cost per meter square is given as 450, and now we need to find out the area. Whose area? Since we are painting two adjacent walls of a hall, the problem is related to the hall. When it is related to the hall, see, we need to know about length, breadth and height of the hall, because two adjacent walls. Okay, see, two adjacent walls in the sense the area of one wall is LH and the area of the adjacent wall is BH. Just you think about this room, okay, or maybe any room where you present. Okay, see, if you consider this is length and this is breadth and this is height, then this wall area is BH, whereas this wall area is LH. So this area is LH plus BH, only the adjacent sum of the areas of the adjacent walls, that's enough. So at the end I need this LH plus BH. Now you just think about statement 1. Statement 1 is given that the length and breadth are in the ratio 3:2. So L by B is equals to 3/2 is given in statement 1. Now you just think about statement 2. Perimeter of the hall is 50 meters. So 2 times of L plus B is equals to 50, and height is 1/4 of the perimeter. Okay. So perimeter is 2 times of L, 2 half L plus B. Okay. Perimeter of the hall in the sense perimeter of the floor as per the statement. So 2 times of L plus B is 50, and height is 1/4 of the perimeter. So clearly height is given, but from this statement to find L and B, we need to use this L by B is equals to 3/2. Using this ratio and using this 2 times of L plus B is equals to 50, you will get L value, you will get B value, and already H value is there like 50/4. LBH you can use here to find the area. After finding the area, multiply with 450. At the end you can answer the question using both the statements, and your answer for this problem is using both the statements we will answer this problem. Is it right? That's what fifth problem. Okay, so we are solving data sufficiency. Here no need to solve the questions, just to check whether it is sufficient or not sufficient to answer the question using the given statements. Okay, now the sixth problem. Yeah, just look at the question. Sixth problem, we need to find the height of the triangle. So this is the question part. The problem is related to the triangle. We need to find out the height. Okay, right. Statement 1 is given that the triangle is right angled, whereas statement 2 is given that what is given, area of the triangle is 5 times of the base. Okay, see, what is the formula to find the area of the triangle? Now I am going to solve the problem. Area of the triangle is half base into height, and it is given as 5 times of base. This base and base will get cancelled, and directly you will get the height as 10. So that in the sense it is very clear that statement 2 is sufficient to answer the question. No need of this statement 1. It may be right angle or may not be right angle. Since it is a triangle, this formula is applicable. Use that formula to find the height. So at the end your answer for this problem is statement 2 only is enough, is sufficient to answer the question. Okay, then coming to the seventh problem. Just look at the problem on the board. How much time will Dinesh take to walk a kilometer distance? Okay, how much time will Dinesh take to walk a kilometer distance? So it is very clear. What it is clear? In the question part, it is given that distance is equals to 1 kilometer. And in the question part itself, it is asking us to find the time. See, distance is given, time they are asking in the question. So what we need to use distance is equals to speed into time. We need speed of that person Dinesh. So for the speed of Dinesh, we need to search statement 1 and statement 2. Statement 1 is given that the ratio of the speeds of Dinesh and Ranjay is 5 by 6. So the ratio between Dinesh and Ranjay speeds is given like 5 by 6. And whereas in statement 2, the average walking speed of Dinesh and Ranjay is known. We have the average walking speed of those two persons. Average walking speed is just nothing but 2xy by xy. 2dr by d plus r is known. Okay. See, the value is not mentioned here. Why? Because no need that value, because we are not going to solve. Just we are thinking whether we can solve or not. See, this d by r is equal to 5 by 6. If you use in this, since this value is known, then automatically you will get the speed of Dinesh. Here this d and r are the speeds of Dinesh and Ranjay. Statement 1 is given the ratio between these speeds as 5 by 6. Statement 2 is giving the average speed is known. So use this, and this value is known, you will get the speed of Dinesh. Use that speed of Dinesh in the question. So you will get distance is there, speed is there, you will get the time. Okay. So and for this at the end, both the statements are required to answer the question. Okay. Then coming to the 8th problem. See, you just think about the 8th problem. Is a two-digit number, a two-digit integer x divisible by 12. So the question is, x is there. Is x is divisible by 12? The question is about is. Is in the sense, you need to say your answer like yes or no. Okay. If you are able to say yes, then that's enough. If you are able to say no, that is also enough. But if you are not able to say that yes or no, if you are in a confused state, then you don't choose that option. Okay. So మనకి yes or no చెప్తే చాలు, వెరీ ట్రిక్కీ క్వశ్చన్ కింద లెక్క, ఏం చేయాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు ఇక్కడ. ఇప్పుడు ఏ నెంబర్ తీసుకున్నా సరే 12 తో డివిజిబుల్ అవుతుందా లేదా చెప్పేయచ్చుగా. మీ నోట్కి వచ్చే నెంబర్ చెప్పండి, నా ఆన్సర్ ఏమవుతుంది, అయితే ఎస్ అవుతుంది లేదా నో అవుతుంది. 12 తో డివైడ్ చేస్తే అయితే 0 వస్తుంది రిమైండర్, లేదా 0 రాదు. వస్తే ఎస్, రాకపోతే నో. అంటే ఖచ్చితంగా ఏదో ఒక ఆప్షన్ దొరుకుతుంది. కాబట్టి ఫస్ట్ స్టేట్మెంట్లో ఏమి ఇచ్చారంటే ఎక్స్ when divided by 5, ఎక్స్ అనే నెంబర్ని 5 తో డివైడ్ చేస్తే రిమైండర్ 2 అని ఇచ్చాడు స్టేట్మెంట్ 1లో. స్టేట్మెంట్ 2లో ఏమని ఇచ్చాడు, ఎక్స్ అనే నెంబర్ని 3 తో డివైడ్ చేస్తే రిమైండర్ 1 అని ఇచ్చాడు. చూడటానికి చాలా కాంప్లికేటెడ్ క్వశ్చన్ కనిపిస్తుంది. స్టేట్మెంట్ 1లో ఎక్స్ అనే నెంబర్ని 5 తో డివైడ్ చేస్తే రిమైండర్ 2 వస్తుందంట. స్టేట్మెంట్ 2లో ఎక్స్ అనే నెంబర్ని 3 తో డివైడ్ చేస్తే రిమైండర్ 1 వస్తుందంట. క్వశ్చన్లో మాత్రం ఆ నెంబర్ ఎక్స్ని 12 తో డివైడ్ చేస్తే 0 వస్తుందా రాదా, డివిజన్ అవుతుందో చెప్పాలి. ఇప్పుడు ఎక్స్ అనే నెంబర్ని 5 తో డివైడ్ చేస్తే రిమైండర్ 2 వచ్చే నెంబర్లు ఉంటాయి. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ 7 5 తో డివైడ్ చేస్తే 2 వస్తుందిగా, యాజ్ వెల్ యాజ్ 12 5 తో డివైడ్ చేస్తే రిమైండర్ 2 వస్తుందిగా. ఇలాంటి నెంబర్లు చాలా ఉంటాయి. ఈ నెంబర్స్ని నేను 12 తో డివైడ్ చేస్తే 12 తో డివైడ్ అవుతాయా అవ్వవా? 7 తీసుకుంటే నో, 12 తీసుకుంటే ఎస్. అంటే ఏది తీసుకున్నా ఏదో ఒక ఆన్సర్ నేను చెప్పగలుగుతాను, ఎస్ ఆర్ నో అని చెప్పి. అంటే ఈ స్టేట్మెంట్ 1 నాకు సరిపోతుంది. ఇలానే ఆలోచిస్తే స్టేట్మెంట్ 2 కూడా సరిపోతుంది. ఓకే. ఎగ్జాక్ట్గా డివిజన్ అవుతుందో చెప్పక్కర్లా, డివిజన్ అవుతుందనో లేదో చెప్పగలను, నేను చెక్ చేయగలను. ఓకేనా, దట్స్ ద థింగ్. ఎస్ ఇస్ అని కాబట్టి చెక్ చేయగలనా లేదా. కాబట్టి ఇక్కడ నా ఆన్సర్ ఏంటంటే స్టేట్మెంట్ 1 ఆర్ 2 ఈజ్ సఫిషియంట్ టు ఆన్సర్. నువ్వు స్టేట్మెంట్ 1 అయినా తీసుకో, స్టేట్మెంట్ 2 అయినా తీసుకో, నీకు ఏదో ఒక ఎక్స్ దొరుకుతుంది, ఒక నెంబర్ దొరుకుతుంది. ఆ నెంబర్ మళ్ళీ 12 తో డివిజిబుల్ అయినా అవుతుంది లేదా అవ్వకుండా ఉంటుంది. అంటే ఏదో క్లారిటీ వస్తానే ఉంటుంది చేస్తే కొద్ది, అంతేగాని కన్ఫ్యూజన్ ఎక్కడ క్రియేట్ కాదు. కాబట్టి నీ ఆన్సర్ ఏంటి, either statement 1 or statement 2. Okay. Then the next problem is 9th one. See, the 9th problem is they are asking you, just look at the question on the board. Is the average of A, B and C equal to B? Again the question is about is. Is the average is about A, B and C equal to B? The question part ante is average of A, B and C ante A plus B plus C by 3 is the average. Is A plus B plus C by 3 is equals to B? ఇది రైట్ ఆ రాంగ్ ఆ, ఇది క్వశ్చన్. ఓకే. స్టేట్మెంట్ 1లో ఏమడుగుతున్నాడు, B minus A is equals to C minus B. ఇది స్టేట్మెంట్ 1. B minus A is equal to C minus B కాబట్టి B to A to తీసుకెళ్తే 2B is equals to C plus A. 2B is equal to C plus A కాబట్టి if you add B, 3B is equals to C plus A plus B. both sides B యాడ్ చేశారు. అంటే ఇప్పుడు A plus B plus C by 3 is equal to B అవుతుందిగా. అంటే స్టేట్మెంట్ 1 నుంచి నేను ఆన్సర్ చేయొచ్చు, ఎస్ అని ఆన్సర్ చేయొచ్చు. సరే, నేను నో అని ఆన్సర్ చేసిన తప్పేం లేదు. ఓకేనా. స్టేట్మెంట్ 2 ఏంటి, స్టేట్మెంట్ 2 ఏంటి, ఏ బి అండ్ సి ఆర్ పాజిటివ్ ఇంటీజర్స్. ఏ బి అండ్ సి ఆర్ పాజిటివ్ ఇంటీజర్స్. ఇప్పుడు ఏ బి అండ్ సి ఆర్ పాజిటివ్ ఇంటీజర్స్ అంటే నేను ఎస్ నో ఎగ్జాక్ట్గా చెప్పగలనా? ఎస్ నో ఎగ్జాక్ట్గా చెప్పలేను కాబట్టి అక్కడ నేను స్టేట్మెంట్ 2 తీసుకోకూడదు. Then look at the 10th question. And for the 10th question, look at the board. The question part, they are asking about the monthly income of Rahim. And statement 1 tells us the 150% of the expenditure of together. There are two persons actually, Rahim and Suresh, and the expenditure together, 150% of the expenditure together is equals to the income of both the persons is equals to the 27,000. And statement 2 gives us the ratio of their expenditures. Using this ratio of their expenditures as well as this 150% of expenditure is equals to 27,000. So ratio is there and total expenditure is also there. From there we will get individual expenditures. But it is somewhat not possible to find individual incomes because total income is there, but we can't divide that income individually for Rahim and Suresh. So at the end, both the statements are not sufficient to answer this particular question. Okay, that's the 10th one. And after this 10th one, and then I will discuss few more problems. There, three statements are involved. Related to answer the given question, we need to check which statement or how many of the given three statements are sufficient. Okay, let us look at the 11th question. You just see it on the board. 11th one. Yeah. See, what is the rate of interest percent per annum? For the 11th question, in the question part, they are asking us to find the rate of interest percent per annum. Okay, and whereas statement 1 tells us the difference between the compound interest and simple interest earned in 2 years on the amount invested is 100 rupees. See, the difference between compound interest and simple interest is given as 100 rupees. Okay, and this difference on invested amount P for 2 years is given by the rule that P into R by 100 square is equals to 100. Okay, see, the difference between compound interest and simple interest for 2 years is usually determined by this rule. This is 100 as given. Then coming to the statement 2, and whereas this statement 2 tells us the amount becomes 19,500 in 3 years on simple interest. See, the amount is the principal P, and that principal P will become 19,500 in 3 years for simple interest. So 19,500 is the amount. This is equals to principal plus the interest P for 3 years as mentioned. Rate of interest we don't know. Okay, amount on simple interest. Whereas statement 3 directly gives us, it tells about the simple interest accrued in 2 years on the same amount at the same of interest, same rate of interest is 3,000. Okay, simple interest is directly given as 3,000 rupees on the same amount for 2 years at the rate of interest R divided by the 100. So if you formulate the given three statements, these are the given three statements and they are asking us to find the rate of interest. Think about it, how to find. See, in these three statements, principal is not known as well as rate of interest is also not known. So principal and rate of interest, there are two unknowns which we don't know. So to find either rate of interest or both principal and rate of interest, we need at least how many equations? 2 equations. So to answer this question, either you may choose any of these two statements, statement 1 and 2, statement 2 and 3, statement 1 and 3, use any two of these three and directly they give us the rate of interest. Okay, so either if you take first 1 and 2, just divide these two equations, you will P will get eliminated, you will get the rate of interest. Similarly for 2 and 3 also, and similarly for 3 and 1 also. If you divide any two of these three, principal will get cancelled and directly you will get the rate of interest. At the end, your option is any two out of these three statements are sufficient to answer the question, but among the options it is not there. So you need to choose your answer as none of these, and that's the 11th question. Okay, then think about the 12th problem, and this 12th problem is about the speed of the train. At the end for this problem, we need to find the speed of the train. So the question part is asking you to find the speed of the train. Whereas coming to the statement 1, it is given that the train crosses an X meters long platform in n seconds. So the train is crossing a platform. We know that while crossing a platform, the train covers a distance equals to the sum of the length of the train as well as the length of the platform. and the time is given as n seconds. So from the first statement, time is equals to distance covered by the train while crossing platform. Length of the train, take it as L, length of the platform is given as x, and we don't know the speed. So distance by speed is the time. At the end you need to find the speed of the train. Then coming to the statement 2. Statement 2 directly gives us the length of the train as y meters. Whereas coming for statement 3, the train while crossing the signal pole, it takes m seconds. See, while crossing a pole, a train covers the distance equals to the length of the train. And the time here it is given as m seconds. And the distance covered by the train is the length of the train and divided by the speed. At the end we need what? Speed of the train. So if you use the first two statements, directly you will get the speed of the train by replacing L with y. X is given, y is given, n is given, you will get speed of the train. Or you may use these two statements, 2 and 3. If you replace L with y, directly you will get speed of the train as y by m. So then your option is, what is your option? Either 1 and 2 or 2 and 3. The first two or the next two are sufficient to answer the question. So among the options, if you look there, option E is your choice. Okay, that's the 12th question. Then coming to the 13th one, the problem is related to the how many students passed in first class. Okay, we need to calculate the number of students who passed in first class. That's the question part. Then we need to search about the statements. Question, what we need to find? We need to find out students passed in first class. Yeah, student passed in first class. That's what we need to find for the 13th problem. Then what the statement 1 tells us? Just think about statement 1. It is given that 85% of the students who appeared in the examination have passed either in first class or in second class or in pass class. Okay, some are passed in first class, some passed in second class, and some are passed in pass class. You might read as third class. So as per the problem, as per the statement 1, 85% of the total appeared students are passed, and these passed students, some people passed in first class, students passed in first class, plus some students passed in second class, and some students passed in pass class. You may take it as third class or anything. Okay, yeah. So we need to find out the number of students who passed in first class. Now you just think about the second statement. Second statement is directly giving us the 750 students have passed in second class. So second class, the students who passed in second class are 750. And then you just think about the statement 3. And statement 3 is giving that, yeah, the number of students who passed in pass class is 28% of those who passed in second class. 750 students passed in second class, and we are searching for the number of students who passed in what? Pass class. So number of students who passed in pass class is 28% of those who passed in second class, which is 750. So statement 3 gives us the number of students from pass class. Statement 2, number of students from second class. Using these two, if you replace here, then to find the number of students passed in first class, we need the total number of students at least. So here totally, if you think there, total number of students we don't know. Number of students passed in first class we don't know. Number of students passed in second class we don't know, as well as number of students passed in third class also we don't know. See, there are 4 unknown values involved in the problem, but there are only 3 statements. Using these 3, solving those 4 unknown values is not possible, and that's why these 3 statements are not sufficient to answer the question. Then among the options, your answer is option D. Question cannot be answered even with information in all the 3 statements is used. Okay, and that's the 13th problem. Okay, these are the questions from the data sufficiency. So once again, sufficiency in the sense, here no need to find out the answer, no need to go for the calculation. We need to check whether the given statements are sufficient or not sufficient to answer the given question. That's enough. It is enough. You need to check with the logic. Okay, theoretically we need to check whether the given question is correct or wrong. That's enough. No need to do complete calculation here. Okay, and this is part 1 of data sufficiency. We will cover total assignment of handout of the data sufficiency around about 3 parts, and this is the first part. Okay. Thank you.